And here now with reaction, former New York City mayor and prosecutor in his own right, Rudy Giuliani. Mr. Mayor, how are you?
How are you, Sean? Good to see you.
All right, so it's a close delegate count. You've got 755 to 545, but right. I would say advantage Trump in New York, obviously based on those polls.
Yeah, those polls are, I think, pretty solid too. I think 55 is a bottom number. Could be higher than that.
So you think he gets all congressional districts? He'll probably get most of the 95, if not all?
Yeah, I think he gets most of the 95, if not all of them. That gives him a nice cushion.
So then he's up 300 delegates, and then Pennsylvania's up by a big margin. He's up in Maryland by a big margin. Delaware, Connecticut, Rhode Island, where do they go?
Should be good states for him.
Yeah.
I would say good states for him, not such good states for Cruz. And that's why I think Cruz is concentrating on California, and Trump is going to have to make a big effort in California. There's no reason why Trump couldn't be a good candidate in California. The California Republican Party is not too different than the New York Republican Party.
Yeah.
And maybe a little more conservative, but I think Trump can make a good showing in California.
Do you see, what if he falls short of 1237? What if he doesn't get there?
Then I think it depends on how short he is of 1237. If he's a few votes short of 1237, he probably can pick up the delegates to go over the top.
Define a few, because a few means 100. Does it mean 50?
20, 30.
20, 30.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's a contested convention. Don't you think? I mean, Paul Ryan said earlier today that this should not, that he's not going to run in this race. That we shouldn't be talking about anybody other than people that have run in the race. Do you agree with that?
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree that these people have worked, for a year at it. They've laid out their program for the public. People have voted. They've got thousands of votes. So I think the pick has to be between them.
We're going to get into this battle of what happened in Colorado. Donald Trump said earlier tonight that the GOP the RNC should be ashamed of themselves on the process. Now, the people in Colorado didn't vote, but everyone knew the rules going in. Ted Cruz outworked everybody in Colorado, got all the delegates available there.
Yeah, I mean, I think the way to look at it is it makes one of the points that Trump has been trying to make, and actually that Cruz has been trying to make, that this is an elite, dominated political party with a grassroots that wants to go the other way. And Colorado decided to go kind of the back doorway.
But when people like prominent Republicans, like Karl Rove says we need a fresh face, not somebody who's run, or John Boehner mentioned Paul Ryan specifically, and you can nominate anyone on the convention floor.
Then why should we have primaries?
That's what I say.
Ever. I mean,
it should really be Cruz or Trump right now, right?
Right. If you put Cruz and Trump together, they basically are the vast majority of the Republican Party that bothered to vote. And what did they say to us? They said to us,
no establishment.
We don't want one of those insiders they're going to pull out of their hat.
Yeah.
And
do you think they'll ever get along? Right now, it's getting mean out there. Don't you think Republicans at the end of this contest are going to have to unite? And I don't see that happening right now. I see a lot of antipathy, resentment.
I don't see it happening if they try to pull a rabbit out of the hat and try to put somebody in who hasn't been in the race, hasn't been making the case, hasn't gone through everything they've gone through. If it comes down to a choice between Trump and Cruz, I think they can probably put it together.
You do?
The two of them.
You do?
Yeah, I think they can.
You do?
Yeah.
All right. You're more.
Well, look at what Donald was saying.
I'm interviewing these guys, so I'm not sure I see the love in the room.
But look at what Donald's been saying about Marco Rubio.
Yeah, that's true.
As opposed to what he was saying about him 2 months ago.
Yeah, good point. All right, Mr. Mayor, good to see you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And joining us now, former Texas governor and Ted Cruz supporter, Rick Perry. Governor, how are you, sir?
I'm great, and I do agree with America's mayor on that last statement.
You know, the funny thing is, we were just talking before we came on. We both agreed you would have been a pretty good president.
Yeah. Well, right. Rudy would have made a pretty good candidate, too, back in the day, but that's not the way it turned out. So, that is that, and let's look towards the future here. And it's going to be between Donald Trump and Ted Cruz. Listen, anything else is completely out of the realm of possibility in my belief.
In my opinion, too, then why are all these prominent Republican names that I just mentioned suggesting otherwise?
Well, we got to have something to talk about, so I think that's what's driving it as much as anything. An interesting media story to pitch all these out here, but the fact is that you're going to have, I don't think that anybody's going to get to 1237. I think we will go to a contested convention, and I don't have a problem with that. I mean, everybody knew what the rules were when they signed up on this, and I think as long as we follow the rules and they don't try to backdoor somebody, then Donald Trump or Ted Cruz, and I think
Governor, here's what
California is going to be a really interesting place to see.
Yeah, but here's a real big problem, though.
Out there.
The rules for 2016 haven't been written yet. They won't be written until just before the convention.
Well, I don't think there's going to be big rule changes. I think Ryan Spreevers will be making a huge mistake, and I think the Rules Committee will be making a huge mistake if they go in there and try to make big changes. I mean, if they tweak them a little bit, maybe probably live with that. But if they go in and make some big rule changes on Rule 40, I think you got some. I think you have some problems that could be very, very dangerous at the end of the day.
By the way, Mr. Rudy Giuliani is still here. He wants to weigh in and say hello to you. Is that okay?
Hi, Rick. How you doing?
I'm fine, Mr. Mayor. Everything's good in Texas. We miss you.
I miss you, too. I agree with you. I think if they make rules changes that are substantive, that substantially change the rules on which these men and women and one woman were running, it would be really, really unfair. And I also think we risk ruining our party, at least for this election.
Yeah.
Big time.
And I don't think that's going to happen. Listen, even if we go to a contested convention, which I do think we will go there, and we're going to see these candidates working within the rule structure. And at the end of the day, whether it's Donald Trump or whether it's Ted Cruz, and certainly I hope it's Ted Cruz, we'll come together and go forward to defeat Hillary Clinton. I mean, that's, at the end of the day, we're throwing a lot of elbows. There's a lot of things going on. People have said this about New York. People have said this about Texas, and we're Americans. And that's what's really important at the end of the day. We're going to have a candidate that we can get behind, a nominee that's going to be clearly the conservative choice, and we put America back on track again. I happen to think Ted Cruz is that person.
If let's say candidate A, candidate B. Candidate A goes into the convention with having won more states, millions more votes, and hundreds of more delegates, but doesn't get the nomination. Do you worry at that point, I'll ask both of you the question, that the person that was bypassed because they didn't get to 1237 and lose in a contested convention, do you think their supporters would be angry, Governor Perry?
Well, I think it's like if we go into overtime at a basketball game and your team was...
but they weren't tied.
But the point is, let's play this out. I mean, you're wanting to call the game in the fourth quarter with 2 minutes to go in the game. I mean, people understand rules. And I think just because you don't like the way the rules are turning out for you to throw a fit and whine and to go on and on about it is, pretty immature in my opinion. Let's play this out. Here's the rules. You knew what they were before you got in the thing.
Mayor?
So let's play it out.
I think Rick is correct. I think we should play it by the rules. I think if you get a candidate within 20 or 30 votes and they don't get it, then you got a chance of a really disgruntled group of people that you can't get together. You have a margin of a couple of hundred. That's a
but Rudy, I think it's really important if you get
Rick
that close.
If that happens, then I think everybody feels they were treated fairly, and whether the first guy wins or the second guy wins, we both have to. I mean, I support Trump. My good friend Rick supports Cruz, but I support Cruz if Cruz is the nominee of the party.
Governor, last word.
And I think it's really important if you're that close and you can't close the deal, shame on you.
All right. We'll leave it there. Guys, thank you both for being with us. Appreciate it.